Hey guys, for today's service, we're going to be adding all of this nice dimension back into what was previously an overly blonded balayage. Keep watching to see how we created these tones. You can follow me over on Instagram at Christy@thecottage. My client came in with this solid ombre where it was just overly blonde through the ends and not enough blonde up kind of at the root area, and it was just kind of like this chunky piece that was right around her hairline but not really anywhere else. And she actually was on like a buy sell trade group where she was asking for like recommendations for a stylist, and a lot of people were saying like that's gonna take you a lot of time to get back to what you want, because she really posted this picture of like a whole bunch of different like dimensional blonde tones with like her natural, and I'm like, you know what, there's no reason why she shouldn't be able to have that right now. She's honestly just too blonde and she needs to be a little bit cooler, but there's no reason why she shouldn't be able to have this like in one session. So I had her message me and I fit her in. Like, I mean, it took a few weeks, but I told her if she's patient, like I'll get her in and we can make sure that this can happen within like the first service. So she ended up coming in and we chopped off a good amount of hair, and what she said was that she felt like she was blonde like right around her face, but she didn't like that it was just kind of like too grown out. She didn't feel like she had it like throughout the crown of her head. It was just more like a few foils that were packed in like right on the hairline, and then a whole bunch of like blonde through the ends, but not really like through the top of her hair, but then through the ends she didn't have any dimension. So today she came in and we decided that we're going to just freshen up her hair, cut her ends off. The thing is that she's getting married, and so she really wants her hair to look nice, and she just wasn't happy with the color at all. So I wanted to make sure that for her wedding she was really happy with her hair. So she came in and she decided that her hair was a little bit too long for the wedding anyways. So we ended up cutting off quite a bit, and we're gonna go through and kind of brighten her up a little bit more through the crown area, just because we did end up cutting off like almost all of the blonde that was falling through the ends, but she felt like it was too bright anyways, so that was fine. So to start, we're going to do her hairline and bring it up just a little bit more on the forehead, and then because she is pretty bright kind of already around like her hairline, I don't want to add too much more, but I do want to do a little bit more dimension. So we're going to do the diagonal zigzag partings, and I'm just going to do a few sections because she is kind of bright already down through the sides, but I just want to make sure that it blends nicely and it's pretty even. So I'm just going to go through and do like 2 or 3 panels on the side and then up in the part area, and then we will kind of go and place a few panels through the back of the crown area too. Here you can see that I do the zigzag sectioning and then a weave also, and this will help ensure that you get a nice blend. Some people message me and they ask me like, I feel as if I'm not getting my balayage to blend very well. How can you suggest to get a better blend? And this is how I always do it. Make sure that you're doing like a zigzag parting and then a really fine weave also, and don't have your sections too thick, because if it's too thick, then you're not going to get even saturation, especially if you're just doing like surface painting, which that's fine. But if you don't do it the right way, then the bleach can kind of like seep through the hair and like it will kind of cause like that marble look. So I personally like to do more of a foilyage, and I don't do my sectioning too thick because I always do full saturation. That's why I do foils, because my clients do tend to like their blonde to be a little bit brighter. So when I go through and do my foilayage or balayage, I always use a board. I always do full saturation all the way through this section. The only thing that I do is when I feather up towards the parting, that's maybe where I tried to like go a little bit lighter handed and not do like full saturation just because I want it to be a little bit softer. But that's what I recommend for getting a better blend, is make sure that you're weaving or backcombing or doing a zigzag parting. Like if you incorporate all those things together, then chances are you're going to get a really good blend. You're not going to have any splotchiness. You're not going to have any lines. You're going to be able to like feather the hair out, and as you comb the hair back down, all that hair is going to fall back down together and it will blend really nicely. So that's just my recommendation. I feel like if I ever do like a straight parting and I just backcomb it, or if I don't backcomb it, and like I just feel like it's harder to get as nice of a blend. And I know everybody has their own techniques, and this is just what works for me. So if balayage or foilayage is something that you're still trying to get down and work on, then I definitely recommend doing your sectioning this way: backcombing, zigzag parting, and weaving. That will definitely ensure that you have a nice blend and that it will softly blend into the roots. Okay, I just want to let you guys know that it is like almost 1 in the morning, and I'm going to have to wake up in a few more hours to reload this up to YouTube because I know it's been a few days since I've put out a video, whatever. You guys, this whole school year is like literally killing me. Let me tell you, so I am a single mom. I mean, I have my boyfriend, but like I am a single parent. My son relies on me alone, and this whole schooling thing is complete bullshit. Sorry if I swear, but you know what? Like, I'm a fan of the F word and I swear a lot and I can't help it. So if that's not you, then I'll try not to like swear again, but like it just might come out and I don't know what to say about it. It's like almost 1 in the morning. Okay. So that's where we're at. I feel like I can't deal with the schooling stuff. I have to wake my son up in the morning extra early because he's like struggling a little bit like with math and some of his stuff. So I have to like get him up a little bit earlier so he can have one-on-one time with his teacher. And I'm actually really grateful for his teacher that he will allow him to do that because I don't really like the idea of leaving my son at home by himself and having just like free access to the internet, and I just think that's not smart for kids these days. So if I'm not home, he's not able to participate in his classwork. So I appreciate that his teacher is allowing him to meet up with him one-on-one. Anyways, so this whole schooling stuff is just like complete bull crap. I'm not happy with it, and I'm gonna have to go down part-time to work, just starting today in October. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I'll be able to put out more videos or get, equal amount of footage because I'm not going to be working as much. But anyways, the whole point of this is to tell you that I'm sorry for rambling on, but it's just so early in the morning and I'm tired, and I don't know if you care, but I'm just telling you that. So that first intro was like literally the world's longest intro. I think it was like 5 minutes long or something, but I can't help myself. Like sometimes I just start rambling because I'm like thinking about the hair, and then I think of like 5 other points that I feel like I need to tell you, and then pretty soon like 10 minutes go by and it's like, can you just shut up? So anyways, I'm literally just like lying in bed, and full like just transparency here, my son lost his tooth today, like out of nowhere. Okay, first of all, back up into like summertime. Okay, we were at my grandma's pool and we were talking, and my cousin was like, oh, did you know, like, did Evan lose all of his teeth? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, turns out, did you know that when kids are like preteen, like they lose more of their teeth, like back kind of closer to the molars. Like, I didn't know this. This gave me like the worst anxiety when we were talking about it. And then turns out my son today like literally lost one of those teeth. I don't know. So he was just like, Mom, my tooth is kind of loose. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So then he like comes downstairs like 5 minutes later, and I'm like, you're supposed to be in bed. He literally passes me his tooth. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Like, normally he's the kid that's like afraid to pull his teeth out, and here he is like 5 minutes later with a freaking tooth in his hand. So I'm like, okay, well, put it under the pillow for the tooth fairy, just because, you know, be careful though, so that it doesn't fall back behind the bed or whatever. So then he goes into the kitchen and he gets a Ziploc baggie. I'm like, what are you doing getting a baggie for? And he's like, hey, maximum security. So then I start laughing because this little shit is literally like worried about his tooth falling, that he feels like he needs like extra security to keep it safe. And I'm gonna have to whisper now because so I like reached into my my apron and I was trying to figure out like what money do I have, okay? I found like a $10 bill and I was like gonna creep into his room, and I was going upstairs, and it's like midnight right at this point, and this is right before I started this video, the voiceover part anyways, and I'm like going in there and he like wakes up as I'm like creeping in there. So then I had to like, oh shit, like hide the money, and I was like, I was just checking on you. I just wanted to see if you were sleeping okay. And I like rubbed his back a little bit, and he was feeling kind of hot. So I was like, I just didn't know if you wanted me to open up a window or whatever. Do you know, he just reached under his pillow and like gave me his tooth. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm not the tooth fairy. Like, put it back under your pillow. Anyways, long story short, probably at like 2 a.m. when I'm done with my voiceover, I'm going to have to go in there and try again. Anyways, say a prayer for me. You know, I hope that eventually, like tonight, when I go back in there again, he doesn't wake up. But I think he'll be happy when he wakes up and sees that the tooth fairy left him like $10 under his pillow. Anyways, you guys, again, this is another long ramble, but here we are working at the very back section of the head. And I just did a few little sections up at the top. Now that we're at the back, I really don't want to add too much blonde because that's kind of the problem. That's what was happening before. So I'm kind of going underneath her parting section. I'm not going like right on top because we don't want like a whole bunch of blonde. So I'm just going to add like these 2 little sections in the back, and we're going to let this process for probably like 20 minutes or so, and then we will pull foils. Also, for anybody that wants to know, I'm sure it's like probably too late in the video, but I'm using Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with 20 volume and Olaplex. Okay, so my client that I'm doing right now is kind of like a color correction where her hair that she had before, she didn't want it like super blonde, but the person that did it like overly like, I mean, her hair was almost solid blonde as it like flowed through the ends, and it was very like yellow and brassy. So the color that she wants, it kind of has like multi-dimensional pieces. So she wants like a darker root with like a medium like brown color, but like the brighter blonde also. So right now we have her blonde sitting in some packets, and I'm gonna go through and tone the rest of her hair that we're leaving out. And so like all of the blonde that's kind of in this area a little bit more, I'm gonna tone that down to be like a level like an 8.5 or something, and try to like cool it down so it's not like so brassy. So I pinned her foils on the top of her head, and I'm just gonna wet her hair down and apply that toner to just kind of give her an overall evenness, and then let that sit, and then pull her blonde foils out, and wash those out, and then we'll tone that to be like the brighter blonde color. So right now I'm going to mix the color for to tone down her brassiness, and what I'm going to use is because I really like how this color deposits it. I feel like some colors are too translucent, but I really feel like the Schwarzkopf semi-permanent, it covers nicely. It really kills brassiness. So I'm going to use 811 and 9546. And the 811 is going to give me a little bit of depth and coolness, but I'm just going to add a little bit of the 9546 because it kind of is more of a beigier tone. That's going to add that warmth to prevent it from going too cool, and also prevent it from going too light, or I mean too dark.
Okay, so you can see that we still have our foils in to make sure that we keep those pieces nice and bright. And then we're going to be putting this on her hair, so this will kind of tone down her blonde to be like a softer blonde tone.
Okay, now that I toned her down for her mid-tone all over, I'm gonna go through and tone her for her brighter blonde pieces. And I asked her, does she want to be as bright as possible? Does she want to be cool or warm? And she said that she doesn't necessarily want to be too bright all over, but she just doesn't want to be brassy. So I'm gonna go through. I was actually originally thinking that I'd go through with Paul Mitchell, but I kind of want to get more comfortable using the Schwarzkopf because I really like it. I don't know if this is a wise decision. I feel like I've used it enough to know that I like the 951 for blonde. I just feel like there's still so much warmth in her hair that I need something stronger than what the Paul Mitchell is. However much I do like the Paul Mitchell and it's pretty, I feel like I just need to use Schwarzkopf. So I'm gonna use 951, and then I'm also gonna use clear to hopefully lighten it up a little bit so it doesn't deposit as a true level 9. I want it to be a level 10. So we're gonna mix for that and tone her down.
Okay, you can see that we have those nice brighter pieces and then some of those other dimensional colors of the blonde from that previous toner that we used.
Okay, so I just got done kind of half blow drying her so that she could see her hair color. I told her that it still looked like it was kind of warm, and it's kind of a close line where it's warm blonde, but maybe they feel like it's too brassy. So I told her that we still have to go through and do the root shadow. So if she feels like the blonde is either too bright or too warm or whatever, we could always come back through after we wash the root shadow out and just tone it down. But she was happy with the blonde. She really liked it. She really liked how much it's much more toned down now. So right now we're gonna go through and do the root shadow. And because she has so much warmth in her hair, I'm gonna go through with 5-1, which is a ashier tone. And she just wants the root kind of coming down to this area. So that's what we're gonna do right now.
For her root shadow, we're just going to be tapping at the root and then just swiping down really subtly. And we just want to help blend the roots a little bit more, cool it down. And I'm going to be kind of doing a teardrop shape of the darker tone. So I'm going to be dropping it down quite a bit further towards the back section of the head. That way it kind of brightens up and keeps it a little bit lighter around the face. So as we work our way through the top, you'll see that I'm swiping it down further in the back, just kind of tapping it and feathering it down in the front, and then feathering it down further towards the back. Here you can see that root shadow color a lot better, and I really like how much cooler it is, and adding that depth and dimension back in there I think really makes it look nice and helps the blonde pop without making it feel like it's too bright. Just kind of helps make those ribbons of blonde stand out a little bit better, and I just love the contrast. So here we are styling her hair, and I always style my clients the same, taking a flat iron and curling the hair back, letting it settle, and then combing it out just to give it those nice soft body waves. So here is her color, just blends so much better, tons of dimension, but still nice and bright towards the face.
Oh, yeah, how's that look?
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Blends so much better.
It blends so much better. Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Again, here's her hair, just super way too blonde and honestly way too brassy. And you guys saw her after. Look at all that dimension, tons of different like blonde tones with lots of depth in there, blends so much better with her natural. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. By the way, Operation Tooth Fairy has just commenced. I feel like I need to update you guys. The Tooth Fairy was successful. It was kind of scary because I really thought that he was going to wake up. I had to tiptoe in there. Anyways, for all of those thoughts and prayers about being a successful Tooth Fairy, I want to thank you guys for wishing me well, and we were successful.